Sa one city where I had 2 petrol no. Remember, NPP 4 kasa your press conference. You sat in government for 8 years. You could not implement or advise yourselves to make sure ECG becomes efficient. Gridco became efficient. You could not do that. Now, KwasiA 4, mobile opposition 5 months. You are advising. Who are you advising? Afenyo Markin winning before asase waje 99 years. Also, mo Jimmy wafa. Ni trimu kakawure ure. Na down for power on the bo KwasiA tafre anaju 2 by 11. Madam Tokonu. Oh sorry obi yire no kwaji nipa na yire wie no e na sa threaten nipa no. If you say sa nipa no kwaji na yire no. Ne sa ne girl no ni nua be ma friend JJ e de ne koto nipa na waje na yire no ne ba enum e ma Afenyo Markin friend wo phone so e threaten no me bo no ha. KwasiA mpanyi we ni so ye lawyer wo Ghana. It is a buy save 16 billion. No, see 5.7 billion. Now you fan save a Dumsor Levy ho. Now fan save energy sector na. KwasiA out the parliament. Oju so the nyansa che the oton ade opz no. Into o kabrofo hu nyansa. Issues bebraba and it's got to do with a energy sector levy. Now, energy sector levy, no, a MPP for a can send bebree. And one funny thing they say, from the time the energy sector levy, no, a buying way the buyer, no, me who one NPP near was suggesting other means and combine bet me raise scar apart from that one city near the 2 petrol, no, till date. The minority in parliament, they have not been able to raise one solution. Say, okay, Sabani se oniska, Sabani se obetoka, Sabani pese or get rid of Dumsor, Sabani se or pese ye energy sector no oshemukina into or the one city at 2 petrol soa. Me who said the NPP that was in power for 8 years. The 88 minority in parliament led by Kasongo 99 Afenyo Markin. I have not heard them say this is another or alternative the government can use to basically make sure our energy sector is fortified. But every time you hear them ranting and you ask yourself, say, into mind, because Ankomano can show the answer. And then because John Mahama found kurabim, so nobody was responsible for mining for the past 8 years. But now on mining show being sa. It is a no mining show being sa, and the end they drew her in less than 5 months. This is happening now. Ubebusa will say, Nipana na on mining shed in Sano, Nyan Saben or the Omane Faso. How was that person or that political party? How were they able to protect the sector? Because Sanka energy sector no Sanka a solidar Anka NPP for Becca say. NDC Abayboa, the sector is solid. Till date, the NPP government, abandoned to me country say, the Aban ways of person ye are or sustaining your energy sector. No, till date, to me country is Abayboa. If you say Anka sector didn't say yeah, Anka NPP for Becca said ye and say ye. The reason why they are not saying it's a sector didn't say is because they knew say when they were handing over the Abino or the sector to NDC, no, they knew they had collapsed it. And until till date, they have not been able to say, oh, one city no more genome some de kwako solve Dumsor, I can make it sector no better no. Sa if you say the energy sector is robust, it is not. They know they destroyed it. Now OMCs, Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies request 2-week transition period for implementation of energy sector levy to allow industry players aligned with major fiscal change. And I think this is in the right order. Oil marketing companies, yakase oil marketing company PZ4 mo asebi when the man come upon anko yedi bia anase mo amoko yi na mo so mabafie na enwubre mo ra ho a mo say mo de muntumi ndi fufuo nda na mo pese mo nom red ededa na metu mufu se munjai no mumu bi na metu mufu ase red munjai no muntie me ma menjuje mu kire o yakase oil marketing companies say bia bebi abu petrol bebi a okoto petrol any idea the friend filling stations no they from OMCs oil marketing companies into Shell ne sa Superstar ne sa bebi amuto to petrol no bebi a unam Nkrumah utumi to petrol edugu ka mu no they from OMCs them oil marketing companies na no and ne aban atena sia kasa aban emom one city a wo dia beto petrol so no ye bodwo so problem ye ni ho na emom ye person come 2 weeks if we say time na ode sa eye 1 cedi we beto petrol so no na ye mu bi no ye din kan akra petrol bi aba na ebi mu so no ye din kan to petrol na ebi so enam kwan so ba na ebi mu no so ye petrol kra bedru esi poso a e twen se ye be offload no efa MPA inti aban also nya butrema na 2 weeks no yamfa check your books ne hu se ya tenetene bibia ansana $1 cedi now their petrol no sebio sa 1 cedi no ya implement it. And I think this is in the right direction because they are businesses omo ebi mo ha obo din kanto petrol na nam kwan so ba obo ha ne de na bedru onyampo offload ye obo also a ogukso a all ne de no. So these are all things obi besie these are all things they need to carefully look at before they job onto the area 1 Ghana city levy na yedabeto eye petrol. So this is in the right direction, and I expect the government to also agree with them because say omo angasa airton petrol no mkofa nyoma no say when to me omo enya ntenase any understanding na eba ene na hu eye prices of fuel fluctuating because we make say ai time ye shemra no na me petrol nam kwan so na me dollar to awie obi so na me de aba na me nyanton ye inti aban say aban agya tum say oni bibi omo 2 weeks omo na this suggestion by aban say fine some agye 1 cedi na beto so na tum dia 2 weeks in dia betum dia mamo inti aban amomo 2 weeks so omo fan hwehwe omo nkratem na omo joso nyoma na afa after 2 weeks no implementation no enye den and starting bejuma inti I see this as good news and I applaud the oil marketing companies in Ghana. At least they are seeing the difference between the John Mahama administration and the Kominini's tribal political funeral party, almost administration. No? So what's the difference now? This government is a listening government. They are open for discussion. They always make sure say so many obia edin sawaswa. They give them all the year. In fact, say nipano and as institution and as ekuono. So omo pese abankra adjust omo to suit the omo yana. The government is a government that is very flexible when it comes to negotiating. Inti aban we say no problem. Yenim say mabuboka. But this government is ready to work with the OMCs. OMCs, they don't have a problem with the 1 cedi. Omo petrol, any problem with the 1 cedi. It also say this levy abanwo eden eje edi atenetene yenkania sem ama eka MPP bogu wono yetumi atika ne free wono. The OMCs omo petrol krampo omo gitum say abanwe is taking the right step. Funeral party no, a year party no, a busia party no, the MPP no, you never heard anything like this. Every single day they were suppressing OMCs, they were suppressing BDCs because in their mind, whatever they wanted to do, they did it. But the NDC government led by John Mahama and the energy minister, they have seen say there are players in this game and they need to bring them along and make sure say the right thing is done. Into the OMCs, I'm 2 weeks to make sure say they put their books in order. As far as someone rejected 1 cedi, it means they know the government is taking the right decision. And I applaud them for this because Sankomo a problem with the 1 cedi and come resist it. But right now, they are not resisting the 1 cedi. They are telling the government to give them time for them to relook at their books and put themselves in order before the implementation of the energy sector levy will go on. But we are going to stay here a little bit. We are going to stay here a little bit because I will see a church in Yamabim. Beginning of my statement, say the NPP as a political party, ebe sinne. I want to mean for any alternative idea beyond my say abain 1 cedi na ojini jai. Nemum your idea for frobia. Yentime use ya sa idea na betuma aboa and make say ebenye sika e dey solve your energy sector problem no ebesin there. All that the NPP are doing is that they are lying to the MPP foolish foot soldiers. MPP were in power for 8 years. Yeah, mom 8 solid years. They were supposed to think and make sure say omo ye energy sector no every ekam. We were here when they told us to say NDC every power January 2017. Now you excess power. Meaning you too much energy. Meaning say too much power. We can sell some and make money. Say NDC every power. And now sign a contract be Muslim contract to mono. That contract wasn't a good contractor. So excess power. Then you can sell the excess power to offset the contract in the canal or the brain. Now, then na excess power. So be a contract to contract no air accrue data. Ultimate for excess power no and solve our problem no. It means say from the beginning, no, na MP before him say omu base na Jimmy, omu go school, omu bon a year and omu pe. Until they decided to just lie to them. For 8 years, these guys were in power. They could not solve a Dumsor. Every single day, they were pushing the problem to the next day. What the NPP did in power for 8 years, and they say, Dumsor problem na they kept moving the problem every single day. Energy crisis, what they did every day was that they kept pushing it day to day. So one were pushing it 3 months, one were pushing it 4 months. So in your head, you might think, say, NPP are solving a Dumsor. The fact of the case is, say, from 2017 to 2024 December, na NPP and solving a power crisis. In fact, they added more debts. It was during the NPP time. Any who say a PURC, any are buying every time they are going to bring out a utility prices not into question because NPP are buying. They don't want Ghanaians to see the real debt and until MDC bar power who a canker san remember NPP 4 catch say you E-levy yanko IMF G E-levy no and sad IMF. Almost idea IMF no and omudi and Kanya no sakosi awawa say every 3 months biano every 4 months I was say tonkanyim. They did not tell you. It was in the document. We read it here. We all know. So every time I never to Kanye bibiam all that they did was they suppressed PURC and told them say oh sa eye baby a kanisha no omo catch them say omo fan tonchena omo betua. So every single day no they were in Ghana energy in Kanye and some kano na carry forward. Now something is happening. The NDC government, they want to take a bold step. And Ghana, your biggest problem as a nation, is energy. The first thing they want to do, and they say, they want to build more gas plants. Senebea, or my Ghana, your reliance on petrol, a form. Into one, NDC Abamba Power and John Mahama, and John Jenapo, they have started building a plant, gas plant, big one. They are thinking of introducing another bill in parliament to start building a second plant, meaning they are being very, very proactive. They are thinking about the future. They want to cut out that liquid fuel. No, they want to use gas. How to sustain our energy. You don't rely too much on petrol because it is looking more like Tona and Yejuma. The petrol say to Wahana Yeton, Yentimipo and refine Ghana. Near Sako Abrucha Koton. So John Mahama and the NDC, they want to end this power crisis, energy crisis, once and for all. Because from Kofo time and Kofo nim se dumso ho. Yeah, the documents in natural. J. Kofo, Yapa Kofo, no nim se dumso ho. He could not solve dumso. So that problem, problem, it has lived for a very long time. And continuously, we've not had a government that could take a bold decision to say, you know something, we want to end this Dumsor once and for all. So what happened was that in 2016, the John Mahama administration took the biggest hit because Dumsor, it had grown to the point it became a man and then it started the destruction. If John Mahama not being so lucky, in 2015, 2016, Dumsor hit. Remember, there were so many things that came together to cause a Dumsor in 2015. Our population was growing. Secondly, more companies were being put up. People were relying more on electricity. Thirdly, you realize, the country as a nation, we were relying so much on the akosombo. We were not having enough money to be buying a lot of diesel. There were so many small complications that Emma Dumson Ebeji Sim. But the John Mahama administration in 2015, they took a decision. Sankema John Mahama to also from 2016 and can any energy problem of Ghana. The reason why I'm saying this is because they decided to solve the Dumsor problem. Until before John Mahama left power, January 2017, now Dumsor never existed. Because not the car power ba, because not wasa and making sure say you expanded the reach near the America ba. So our power crisis, the problem are not is facing, it had been solved. Now we needed consistency in fighting the debt that always cripples our energy sector. Into Hona John Mahama Ejai Abino Edema KwasiA from MPP way. When they came, instead of them to build on what John Mahama left, because Obiani Ghana Betumaka say from 2015 to 2016, yeah, the power Emma Ekufu na Dumsor Ghana. There was no Dumsor, it had been solved. Emma Napomo Bekachere say we had excess power, meaning they came to meet enough power. enough power was being generated. Now, because they could not build on the energy, remember, Mamika Bincho, you need to build on energy to be able to make money to protect your energy. Because energy, it creates money on its own. And if you don't invest in the energy sector, you will not be able to make money out of the energy sector to protect that energy sector. In the energy sector now, it needs to generate its own protection plan. And the NPP government, led by Ekufuado, Bawumia, Kennedy Japan, Brandi Champon, any community, they did not understand this simple thing. Because when it comes to meet Ameri, and your idea is say Ameri should work, and that your car near the diesel, what is going to happen is even maintaining that Ameri, their car power, even making sure say they stay in good shape, you will need to raise money to maintain it. Now these people, at the end of the day, were entering the money that we were raising into Usha. They were stealing all the money from ECG. And that money that ECG was collecting, it was supposed to go back in building the energy sector. Into Usha economy jaguana, you realize they left a lot of debts at the ECG. All because the money that was supposed to take care of the energy, that money that the energy sector generated, or the revenue we got from energy sector, that is supposed to go back. It's a cyclical thing. It's supposed to go back to take care of the energy sector. They were eating the money, they were chopping the money, they were spending the money. Until the energy sector was suffocating. Was suffocating to the point whereby we knew that there was Dumsor in Ghana. At a point, Yebusa Napo as the energy minister, Dumsor is happening. We don't have light. Or say your timetable. That was the level of disrespect. This funeral party, MPP, they showed Ghanaians. Now, something is happening under this government. And Sibiu, Mamika Bibinche Ghana for the work we do here, we just don't come sit here. We always try to open your mind. Ye biawa dream. Sena be abohu amamuo papa ene amamuo tantan. The MPP be no eya amamuo ananyansanim. Now aban way they have been in power for just 5 months. Now mamen chiro nyansa on my way and as aban way ede den ede chichire eye on my Ghana. So one city way I had two petrus no. Remember NPP for Kasa, your press conference. In fact, so share some of the things they are saying now. Obi to say Kojo Oppong Nkrumah or say the minority and your press conference NPP for a funeral party. Say the minority advises the government. They are advising. They are not actually bringing any solution. They are rather advising. Ask yourself, when I'm gonna advise, these were the people we gave the energy sector to for 8 years. Over 10 billion. Emma, sa problem can solve you. Today, a Jimmy for us about some be 2 years. Momoto mon. Mudare kwa mo horomoto. For 8 years, mudare ama horomoto. Ade china se obia ba betrefio a. Wo fi abonte be ka chere sai, o be chere sibia e den, e wo so horomoto. These are people who don't think. Now, what are they asking? Now, the minority advises the government to expedite efforts till the minority advises the government to expedite efforts to improve the efficiency of GridCo and ECG operations in order to reduce transmission, distribution, and other technical losses as a strategy to help address the energy sector debt. MPP4 and remember, for the past 8 years, KwasiA for the Ghana energy so. Almost say, almost two abino for say, oh, abino. On to nyoma ye na GridCo njina na so na sebio ECG sene baya enyirimu nkania sene ye beche no Ghana na obienya nkania na bibia gigina na so akọ toti no omumom etu aban ne fu sa akwa ne tise bama omutena power 8 years sa nyansa ro enya because unim they know say omu followers na Jimmy they forget easily, they just forget everything easily. Oma say lap dogs. MPP funeral pathway, omnim some followers it such a mount to me, omadwene wo fom. Omnim so followers say abronye, omadwene wo fom. Omnim so Jimmy, you sat in government for 8 years. You could not implement or advise yourselves to make sure ECG becomes efficient. GridCo became efficient. You could not do that. Now, KwasiA for mobile opposition 5 months, you are advising. Who are you advising? Pizza for inti a year party no and omo catch omo person mutu aban no fo Umuwejimi, efuto ben and betu abain. There was a reason why Mekachram say the energy sector generates its own revenue, and that revenue takes care of the energy sector. Say omoka say abaino enhwe na ECG njina na naso any grid ko njina na naso send ye be ya eye de njina mu kanea ho nsensem be njina na naso. The reason why omoka say grid ko any ECG njina na naso say ECG any grid ko omo dakamu a yentumi nya njina mu kanea. And in KwasiA they knew. So the fact is, when the energy sector cannot generate revenue, you have to understand you have deficiencies in your energy sector. And that is what we are experiencing. Because a canon kofo weja to hono, sa a canon na many energy sector na ama abain way find these solutions once and for all to stop it. Now, momianko tie kofo we Afenyo Markin Kasongo 99 MPP4 omo minority leader no. Obabi obeshedi bi onene be wo. Afenyo Markin eye winibafo asase waje 99 years oso omo jimi wafa ni trimu kakawure ure na danfo pa onene bo eye KwasiA tafre anaju tututu by 11 eye Madam Tokonu eye ex anase former chief justice we osori a obi yire no okoji nipa na yire wie no e na osa threaten nipa no if you say sa nipa na okoji ne yire no ne sa ne girl no ni nua be ma fe ne jeje e de ne koto nipa na waje ne yire no ne ba enum e ma Afenyo Markin friend wo phone so e threaten no me bo no ha KwasiA mpanyi we ni so ye lawyer wo Ghana oja na mumyanko tie eye Afenyo Markin omo se den yanko bebi a o ye bebi kwa anke aka kire aha ne wo ye bedwedwema magana fo ehunu kure no. You give back 2 billion and take 5.7 billion, and the MPP for say eye NDC abaino aye ama Ghana for 2 billion and o massage eye 5.7 billion through eye one seed na omodi abeto den omodi abeto eye petrus no. Now mommy ankoti omo na meka asemi nchiro.
Number 2, government should quicken the efforts to bring efficiency into the operations. Number 6, the e-levy was designed to yield approximately 2 billion Ghana cedis from persons who elected to do transfers or transactions. Now, colleagues, you are here in Parliament. You will recall the day that the e-levy was repealed. Our good friend, the majority leader, was on his feet, shouting his voice hoarse that the government has put 2 billion cedis back into the pockets of Ghanaians. I'm sure you recall. This Dumsor Levy is taking from everybody over 5.7 billion cedis for this fiscal year. So if repealing the e-levy puts 2 billion back into the pockets of Ghanaians, what does introducing the Dumsor Levy that takes away 5.7 billion do? In his own words, this government is taking 5.7 billion Ghana cedis from the pocket of Ghanaians. And we think it is very dishonest because if you claim that you are giving Ghanaians 2 billion back, which was so untoward, it was evil by the previous administration, how do you give back 2 billion and take 5.7 billion from the people? It's only the NDC government that does that, justifies it, and expects everybody to say that that is some smart economic approach.
PZ for Mamen Churchill na Kojo Oppong Nkrumah ekano. O see, eye ade efenum energy sector levy a eye 1 cedi ye de ato petrol so no. O see, obese oma Ghana 40 ase on se Oppong Nkrumah ni MPP for mu say MPP base no monte brofo. De bia me ka kire mo omo de brofo be jimi mu a na omo de nya omo ho tem because omo se mo mudodo no mo na mo ye foolish masses no mo nko school e na monte brofo. In some Kojo Oppong Nkrumah kai no 99% of MPP supporters omo ntia ase because onum se mo jimi. Kojo Oppong Nkrumah kasa na o say eye NDC aban ba power e na omo say oh omo betwa e-levy mu ene other levies no inti ama aban no ayeden e save 2 billion ama Ghana for. That means 2 billion na sebio e-levy egia na omo se omo de baye no aban NDC ababaya omo betwa e-levy any other taxes mu no o se NDC aban ka say sa 2 billion no sebio Ghana for sika anka ebehye ende aban no e save Ghana for into see sa 1 cedi ya ye de ato petrol so no MPP for say sa one city we no sa we calculation na ekire say aban ede ne nsa ahye Ghana for bottom a we 5.7 billion efri omo bottom Kojo Oppong Nkrumah asema wo kan no ne nyansemu no Osi NDC forecast say omutwa e-levy mu no omu save Ghana for 2 billion inti ebasa na Ghana for yenyina sika nka ebese no sa sika ne kai bottom 2 billion inti osi ene de say NDC ede 1 cedi levy abeto eyedien so abeto petrol so a na eno ekire say eye NDC aban de nsa ahye Ghana for bottom a omu yi 5.7 billion inti omubu ofu ye pa inti ama MPP fo no omunye dede me pese me busa Kojo Oppong Nkrumah wa hwe podoma na nia yellow mumusa ne say aban we ye NDC aban so ba power no na petrol e was 16 Ghana a liter and aban no e 3 cedis every eye petrol suma and the petrol sebio oya calculation na ma menya ne simple ma o de ye fan free eye 17 to eye 12 ana 16 to 13. Aban we ba power. Ankasa mo confession no na 16 and amuja 1 liter. And John Mahama ban by 5 months. We yi airden, we yi petrol so 3 cedis. Into we calculation na aban no save airden Ghana for sika 16 billion. Nanko say free Ghana for bottom na eko. And so NDC aban buy no. Sa 3 cities now you free a petrol letter so no, and they will save Ghana for 16 billion in their pocket. It also wedge me. Say ya can kremwa and the NDC abana is save Ghana for more 5.7 and it's 16 billion. NDC abana power. Now petrol was 16 Ghana cedis a liter. And the petrol 13 or 12. Let's put it that way. Sa 3 cities na John Mahama etumi yifri so no sa sika no na nka ose ko Ghana for bottom and John Mahama SI sa sika no de share Ghana for bottom o yes sa calculation na 16 billion it is aban save 16 billion no say 5.7 billion na ye fan save Dumsor emfri ho na ye fan save energy sector na KwasiA out parliament o so dem nyansa che de oton ade o PZ no into o kabrofo hunyansa into sanka wo hwemu a the NDC government, they have saved Ghana more than anything else. And what they have introduced is a permanent long-term solution. What the NDC government has introduced today, a long-term solution to solving our power crisis. Because this one city is going to go a long way to, at the end of the day, avert all the debt. So one city is going to fight it, because when we are able to fight a Canada China, the energy sector will breathe, and we will be able to get enough to do what? To power the generators. I'm talking about money, because right now every single CKB raised from electricity Ghana for no. I'll say the go to Yaka. Abani say ya the one city be to ho ya the one city no ebe kosaka no inti from enda no ya register bia through energy and as ECG sa sika no ya the bet na ho to say ebe bo ye kania ho nsem ho ban edian be na wo pe inti as we speak say sama at number some ye dia then clearly the NDC government they have saved Ghanaians 16 billion because na petrol na a letter almost 17 Ghana cedis. And somewhere around 12. Inti ekakranka ode memfa nchamo oyi 3 cedis. Sa 3 cedis no anka NPP aban na mo gifri Ghana for bottom. John Mahama ban o sa 3 cedis na Ghana for bottom. 16 billion and over. Inti anywhere you see it, the NDC government is really helping. In fact, let me show you something. Oh, say NDC aban, Mr. P. NDC are buying every time they come to office. What they do is they raise funds for specific things. So we study here. So we study NDC are buying very well. And as NDC, a party now. Every time they come to power, they raise funds for specific things. And it is because the way their governance style, and they say, they try to deal with specific problems individually. And the moment you are able to do that, you are able to also free the citizens from into check here from 2012 to 2016 NDC government they created 4 funds from 2012 to 2016 they created a year foot 119, and sa foot it was geared, or it was created specifically for specific problems. And he said, I want to show you something. Let me guide you with this. Thank you, team. My team just brought me this to show you. Make sure the difference between MPP and NDC Abaimpa. MPP, they don't have knowledge about governance. Every time I NDC Obiano, it's a problem, major problems. So why? Create specific solutions to it. This is what the NDC did when they came to power. These are some of the specific solutions they created for problems they meet. And that is what they are doing today. And they're only one city to petrol, because they want to solve the energy crisis. Crisis now for years and years. Adawa and KwasiA for way bar, MPP for slogan and the concept. The NDC government, they want to end that crisis. Now, this is what they did. From 2012 to 2016, these are the funds they created. Created Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund, which is called the GIF. It was established in 2014 under the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund, 2014 Act 877. This fund was designed to mobilize financial resources for infrastructure development in key sectors like energy, transport, and water. In 2014, make sure the difference between MPP and NDC. So this MPP, Jimmy, they don't know how to govern. Now, in 2014, NDC for a critique a funder, it was geared towards making sure say over a energy sector, transport, and water now you dealing with the problems there. And it's the boom in infrastructure under John Mahama from 2012, 13, 14, 15, because they knew say we needed specific money for specific problems. Until they always create fund your footwear, a footwear this gum na edi jumebi. Create sinking fund when you are under NDC. Make sure the difference between MPP and NDC. MPP Jimmy. A year no more idea na eba amamua santi. They cannot govern. Almost create a sinking fund. Now, although not a revenue generating fund per se, this was strengthened to help manage and retire public debt. It's sinking fund no what was doing in the say. A car na a dia swa na ne kono aye kwankro no sa eka sa fund we dwuma na edin se wo ha na ye wo ka bia emene ya ne akoyi bi ne da kokon we nyina eye funder NDC aban under John Mahama, Professor Mills, JJ Rollins more omunim nyansa no, they created. So NDC no, they create solutions for specific problems. And they are creating solution for energy crisis now. For years, that is why they have brought the one city, because it is geared towards reviving our energy sector. Now, I'm not sure the other two funds are NDC creating here, MPP. They cannot boast of these things. So much Jimmy, a year in Sabodia and KwasiA and Jimmy and Omodia party, they don't really have anything for you people. NDC is creating petroleum fund. That is the Ghana Heritage Fund and Ghana Stabilization Fund. And let's see a footwear. What was it geared towards? While these were established under the previous administration, 2008-2012, Atamos and a creative fund way to 2008-2012 and Atamos Nyansan no, John Mahama, we am a vice president. Let's create this fund. The NDC government managed and utilize them for fiscal stabilization and long-term savings from oil revenue. Inti sa petroleum fund way na sika ya start say ye tu fango na ya pese ye DBC no sa fund way atamos create say sa eye fango na ye tu no ye be yi sika bi afrum a emfaso e benya na eho ne ye de beto na ye de sa mfaso no ye de di dwuma bi aboa Ghana. This is the NDC. Internet, someone creating a BB friend, energy sector levy. Do not be surprised. They have a target. They want to solve another problem. They are creating a windows to solve a problem. Yan nanum you need to solve. J Kufo by when creative fund ba kumpo. A bini dine obesi ye. Kufo ekufuado ba Mikmil na bebo nyum ewo a Flagstaff House. Ba umia be twa Kennedy wa bodam. Brand champo kronfo be energy sector or ko abrochire or so ko military intelligence oboa no obu petro en KwasiA fo we ntumi nchichire man ma omo wie na mo bie bibia fa no earmarked funds for social interventions. These are some of the funds and these are buying bie ya omo de solve specific problems. Team omo de solve specific problems. Make sure now earmarked funds for social interventions. The NDC government introduced or expanded various social programs Omo expanding programs bebre. Ebine the savings and loan scheme for traders, Maslock loans, and the Ghana Youth Employment and Enterprise Development Agency, GIDA, and which were funded through budgetary allocation and revenue generating measures. These were all funds. These were all funds that were put together by the NDC government to solve generational problems. And it's Mofred John Mahama, the nation builder. The nation builder, no, it did not just come. It came from these kind of things. He created a fund that he could go pick money and create more infrastructure, build more. The NDC, they have always been on top of the game. Get fund. And they created all these things because they know, say, as a government, yeah, your get fund, your ESLA, your GIF, your all these things were funds, and they are to do specific things. In the NDC, the one city about 7 to petrol, so we move petrol free 17, they about 12. No, see, for one city to so now from fighting a energy crisis. In 5 months, the government is building gas plant. Now, KwasiA to also on TSA. Where Jimmy, Sandy Pano, Odi foresight, Omunya proactive. They are not ready to come and govern to help you. They are ready to come and govern to steal, like the way they stole in the past 8 years. And there's a difference between NDC and MPP. The NDC always finds solutions to specific problems. Now, do you understand? And it's not now you be a gun of winning, and it's not we don't care. We don't care because you see, our job here is to make sure, say, Mwa mudi MPP china mwejimi no yebe biemu adwinim mujimi mukura no behu nyansa ewusa da abi party we a year for party MPP party we a tribal party we a for party we nya party betumi di mpuntu abre Ghana. And I'm telling you what the NDC is doing, they have done and what they determined to do. Now Shadie Mama Chawa Debu ha Mr. S, Mr. P. All right, so let me summarize this for you. Menchel fund no NDC sika omuja 2 in 2016. Answer no free power no. Ekufuado Bawumia Kennedy Japan Brand Champon or say Chairman Sabonsu ewifo we bae before NDC left power in 2016. Mamenchel intend they say the bibia by a friend 1 city energy sector levy. They have a plan. Shade answer na time na NDC free power 2016. Sika omujagu different funds muni eni. Me pesa MPP for Babon to because near Buanaska we ni ho. Oforia tamoba omu diska we nyina. Oba aya from 2016 Sika NDC jato ho. They create solutions for specific problems. Sika NDC jato aya sinking fund nim na aya 864 million. What about dollars ma $200 million. Jo Mahama jato was a kufuado je twaso. KwasiA chichide ne ba ye no so hwe ye ni premanfo kokemfo ni wifo ne aba and almost start here and omo boko ka no mo wi 200 million omo di ni nyina sinking fund John Mahama mu eja Ghana Investment Infrastructure Fund John Mahama mu ja $325 million capital seed money omo tu mu give almost $325 million. And Ojame Kufuado, Bawumia, Kennedy Japan, Oseche Mensa Bunsu, Ofuriata, Semonje, Namontuaso. Mumusa MPP so free power. Nasika say na ka give him. Me de bachiramu. Time mu free power. Nanu sika ka give accounts him. Heritage Fund, John Mahama muja $305.6 million. And son of free power 2017 January. I'm on a creative fund no photo this sikatum I'm saying monje. Na mon kabin kaho. Ni afantechere Ghana. Unim sika omujato heritage fund time of free power. KwasiA for say na yanya muden. Yema mutumi. And these were solutions to problems so. And they just don't have general solutions. So they have specific solutions to specific problems. And that is what they are doing today. Now, Uber Stabilization Fund, John Mahama NDC, Omuja $247.9 million. Mumusa MPP from KwasiA our parliament say, Sikano way. Omun to see toilets. A toilet to the idea. Omuko Yane, the Omuya, and the Baumia Kacha. Omun to see one regional hospital. One. The NPP now and Omuya press conference upon press conference. Ekan KwasiA bro form news Omu base in Tiasiano. They could not build one regional hospital. They came to meet all these monies. Mrs. On some Mahama Ban and say was be Mahama case or discover gumo. Mahama Ban and say also be Mahama case is geared toward health problems. Omo munya yare ko ankra sebi onim se debi yemma yenananom a omugu asantimemu a galamse nsuo ama ebimu widiem mercury koma in the next 10-15 years yare beba omuntumi enko hospital enye sika no Mahama endem no ka say or the Mahama case aba sa foto no ye sika sa begum because you say MPP for KwasiA for omuntena power 42 years na obu ofu. The NDC, they know what they are doing. They have always solved problems. In fact, semitim ni puli eye sika a car eye all these funds and some MPP free power, you'll be shocked. E-levy. Mamembo video been shown. Kanofurata in 2017. Mamembo video actual. We are not going to lie to you about anything. In 2017, Esla. John Ofuriata Ejina Parliament. Muntie de Okaye. They catch them say MPP for Umejimi. Listen to Ofuriata in Parliament. 2017, Esla. John Mahama Dumsor.
Finance Minister Ken Ofuriata has indicated that he will collateralize revenue from the e-levy if he deems fit. This will be at the back of the collateralization of many other regular revenue sources, such as the Get Fund, ESLA, Road Fund, among others. But what does the country gain from this particular move, and why do people see it as a dangerous one?
Collateralization of revenue.
Sorry. We're at 2022. 2022. I got it wrong. In fact, before that, I need to play the first video before I play a second one. Mr. S, I need to play the 2012 one. So my team they catch him say I should show you this video first. Team. Okay. This is 2017. 2017, Ofuriata Parliament. Listen to Ofuriata. I'm going to match on PZ4.
To ensure irreversibility, we are implementing the following measures to tackle some of the long-term structural issues. Capping of the city refunds at 25% of government tax revenue. Thank you very much for your support. Operationalization of the Treasury single account to consolidate all government funds at the Bank of Ghana. Tightening of expenditure controls in GIFMIS to minimize inefficiencies and budget overruns. Strict enforcement of the PFM Act as well as the Public Procurement Act to ensure efficiency in public procurement. And adoption of the competitive tender process, which is eliminating wastage and giving Ghanaian taxpayers real value for their money. We have successfully refinanced the first tranche of the energy sector legacy debt through the issuance of the first ever energy bond by ESLA PLC. Mr. Speaker, I am pleased to announce that this successfully raised 4.7 billion Ghana cedis, over $1 billion, and is now the highest ever energy bond in Africa. We have also introduced the cash waterfall mechanism to prevent new debt accumulating.
2017, Ojina Parliament or ESLA won some. How they were able to use ESLA and the amount of money. Amubeto omuhu de sikana ESLA deba. Mumbuso mufi power na ka saying our ESLA dim. This is the MPP I'm talking about. Adia Utiewe 2017. On say you want it and a fake accent. Mr. Speaker, no kuta bottle. Mwe Jimmy Amano. Sa KwasiA mpanywa na be wi sika every senate.